All right. Am I making noise? Can you hear me? No? There's a little delay between when I say something and you hear it. So, for anybody that comes along for the stream, this is Belkin Vanderspuds, and I'm going to be making frittata this morning for breakfast on a Sunday live stream. And the idea is I wanted something yummy to eat, and frittata popped in my mind, and I thought, okay, I'll do that. So I've got a couple of things already going, and essentially this is impromptu, so none of this is setting up. There's this cast iron skillet I've just cleaned and heated up. The oven is preheated, and I have a bunch of my tools that I need for cooking and some of the ingredients set up, and I'm going to walk you through making the frittata. We got to cook the meat. That takes the longest. We've got to cook, so we've got to cook the meat. It's bacon, and I'm going to be using Grand's biscuits, and then we'll have eggs, which I haven't pulled out yet, but I will in a minute. And the eggs will get scrambled and several ingredients added, and they'll be scrambled in here, and then we will put them in the oven to bake. So first thing I got to do is get the bacon ready. So here we go. This is literally not going to be time compressed. This is going to be in real time. So sit back and enjoy. And this is literally how I make these when I'm not filming. So I woke up this morning kind of hungry, and I thought, oh, well, I could stream a live video demonstrating how I make this. And the frittata is kind of an interesting meal because it basically starts off life as scrambled eggs, but as you're going along, you end up baking it. So it's not really scrambled eggs anymore. And it's not like a quiche because there's no crust on it. But it's really a dead simple meal to make. So it doesn't take that many ingredients, and you can be really creative with the ingredients. Okay, so what I've done there is cut up the bacon, and now it's simply putting it into the cast iron pan. Okay, got a good string.
Okay, go.
Okay, it's working. So we have live stream. Okay, I'm going back. A moderator told me nothing was working. So, okay. Shall we continue? So basically, I've cut up the bacon, and I'm putting it into a preheated cast iron skillet. And simply, I know these are big chunks, but as it cooks, they will break apart and cook evenly. So we'll start it off in the oven like this as we cut up the rest of the ingredients. So take our Mickey Mouse gloves, and we put these in the oven. Again, the oven is preheated at 375. So we're going to keep going from there. Now, next, I'm going to take off this big mitt, and the biscuits themselves are going to take a few minutes to cook. Not long, but a few minutes. So I'm putting a cast iron skillet in the oven to preheat, and we will get the biscuits out. These things are fun. Oh, it's still good. I love these things. I don't know why. It's just so easy to make a biscuit in the morning. If you've got no time. So I'm going to break these all apart while that pan is heating up. What else do we have to do? I'm going to need some eggs. Okay. Those are sitting there nice and calm. And let me get some eggs out of the fridge. So we have eggs. Now slide this out of the way. I'm going to take my bowl. I'm going to get some paper towels. And I usually start this off with cheese. In this case, it's Mexican 4 cheese. By the way, anything that you see on this stream, and I'm going to add about a cup and a half of cheese. But anything you see on this stream, like the tools I use or some of the ingredients, if you look in the description for the stream, you'll find links to it, and they're associate links. So if you're looking to buy any of this, you can definitely find it. I've got cheese in the bowl, and now we're taking heavy whipping cream, and I'm going to put enough heavy whipping cream, probably a 1/4 cup, to make up for about half the cheese that's in there. You can see that. And next I'm going to add eggs. Actually, next I'm going to add some salt. Some pink sea salt. Not much, just a little. And it's salt to your taste. Now I'm going to start breaking eggs. I like doing it this way because it goes right onto this paper towel. Paper towel keeps the table countertop clean, and the eggs go right onto it and get thrown away without a bunch of hassle. And paper towel keeps any egg drippings from coming down and dropping into the thing. 4, 5, 6, 7. Oops, that egg was broken. 8. 9. And 10 eggs. Now the number of eggs you use is your discretion. Depends on how many people you're cooking for and whether or not you want leftovers. This never happens when I'm recording. What a mess. Okay, so there go the eggs. And essentially, that's what you were looking at so far. Paper towel, clean up any egg drippings, and egg on the outside of our bowl. All right. Now, I'm actually going to cook, let's see, the peppers, onions, and mushrooms with the egg in the oven. So I'm not actually going to cut them up right now. I want to get the biscuits in cooking. So back on with the Mickey Mouse gloves, and we're going to get a pan out of the oven. And in this case, I'm going to pull both pans out because the bacon, yeah, it's already starting to cook down. So we will okay. Where's our bacon? So I'm going to get a flat plastic spatula like this. And then basically, if you just stomp on the bacon, it all starts coming apart. So it divides and separates pretty well, like a stack of cards, and makes easy work of it. We're not going to cook the bacon solid. I mean, it's not going to be crispy bacon when we get done. It is going to be cooked, but it won't be crispy. So, okay, we spread out our bacon. We'll put it back into cook. And take our other skillet and we'll put some biscuits in it. And remember, that skillet's hot. So, don't know if I'm going to get all these biscuits in here. We'll try. Sunday morning breakfast. Yum, yum, yum. Oh, that's nearly perfect. Okay, a couple squished in. Okay, everybody happy? Good. Whoa. Whatever you do, try not to kick the tripod that's holding the camera. Okay, so these biscuits are going in. And I think they go in for 12 minutes. So I'll set a timer. Oops. All right, so we got 12 minutes on the biscuits, and we're going to want the eggs and everything ready for when the biscuits get done. So right, so next thing we do is take up our big mitt and have a slug of coffee, because that's good. And we're going to move the eggs out of the way for now. And I'm going to get ready to cut up an onion and green pepper. So the way that I do that is pretty simple. Cut both ends off like this. And then break off the very outside skin, and I take and cut into a layer and then squeeze it apart, and I knock the last layer off of the onion. All right. Ooh. And next, I've got a yellow pepper, bell pepper. And check this out, okay? This is how I cut them. Cut it from one side to the other, turn it 90 degrees, and cut it the other way. Okay. And then what you have is you've got 4 chunks, and they all peel off fairly nicely without leaving a bunch of seeds in it. Just like that. Well, normally you have to, look, that one had a baby. Oh, there's more babies. GMO, gotta love it. Normally you have to cut that seed top off, but doing it this way, you don't have to. Then I go and I trim the rough bits. And make it pretty. And I've got pretty big hands, so I can use a bigger knife like this. But, you know, if you need to use a smaller knife, this is just how I do it. It's not how I'm recommending you do it. And I think, oh, one more. All right. Make sure all the seeds are out. And then I just slice these into bite-sized pieces, basically. So nothing fancy. Just whatever size is bite-sized for you. Let me do some of this, so maybe you can see better. Yeah. Sharp knife helps. I keep a knife sharpener right next to me, usually when I'm cooking. Unhealthiest thing you can have in a kitchen just about is a dull knife. They're dangerous. Okay, so now we got our peppers, and I will put the peppers aside. Yeah, this goes a lot faster when you're watching it on a regular video. But in a live feed, it's in real time, folks. So, all right, set them aside, and now comes the onion. Onions, again, for me, I don't like the green stuff inside of some onions. So I'll just take them out. Not uncommon, and I will cut onions down the sides, into the middle, and then cut them along the side this way. And it really comes down into fairly moderate size pieces. And most importantly is to not get too many green chunks and not to cut your fingers. The green parts aren't bad for you. They're visually distracting, I guess. If what you're cooking doesn't have a lot of green in it, and this isn't going to have a lot of green in it, so just take it out. Okay, so you finish cutting up to the size roughly you want. It's in rocket science of cooking, so you decide what size you want your stuff. And again, with the other side. All right. Do I get a bowl to put it in? All right. So now we have our onions and our peppers. The mushrooms are fairly easy. You simply pop the top. And I take them, put the lid back in and to the sink to drain them. So, all right, all drained down. Now they're ready to use. So that's our primary ingredients. I am going to go ahead and trying to decide whether or not to cook. Onion broke free. Whether or not to cook. So there's a couple of ways you can cook the onions and peppers and mushrooms. And how you do it makes a big difference in the end as far as if they're crunchy or if they're, you know, well cooked. And in this case, I think I'm going to go for crunchy. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and add them into the mix with the eggs. And now it's simply scrambling the eggs like you ordinarily would. Again, no rocket science here. It's literally trying to move the cheese up from the bottom and get all the yolks broken. And if you notice, I'm just using a fork. I mean, it doesn't take much. You don't want to be really rough on them. You are mixing air into it. That's part of the reason I do it with a fork, is it gives an opportunity for a lot of air to get into it. And even though everything is being stirred together right now, before it goes in the pan, I'll stir it one more time just to make sure the air gets fluffed up in there. So, eggs are done. Didn't have to use the big knife. So we'll put away the big knife. Just put it in there backwards. We'll put away the big knife. Clean up the area just a little bit. Get rid of any spare particles. See, what else am I chopping in? Nothing. And away goes the cutting mat. I don't have a cutting pad in the list of items to use. Okay, so away goes the knife, away goes the knife sharpener, done with that. And it should be almost exactly time for the biscuits. I think I timed that really well. I don't know. I think so. Okay, so we're shifting over to the oven again. And time for the Mickey Mouse glove. One Mickey Mouse glove. And we're going to check the biscuits. I'm going to give them just a couple more minutes. Just a couple more minutes. In this case, the biscuits are going to go on top of the bacon in the pan, and then the eggs are going on top of it. So give it one more minute. And in that 1 minute, I can sneak over and get some coffee. Because, you know, if you're cooking, you should have coffee. Sort of a rule. Or even if you're not cooking. Okay, so how's everybody doing? Anybody have any questions? Whew. So I don't know if you can see this. I set the timer for apparently an hour instead of 1 minute. So we'll let it run down a little bit. And then I'll check those biscuits again. They're just about done. Yeah, they're done enough. Okay. So we'll pull the biscuits out. That's what our biscuits are looking like. And actually, I'm going to need a cutting pad again. Because next, what I'm going to do is cut those biscuits in half. And the reason is because the eggs are going to go on top of it. So take the cutting pad, get a good look at the floor, bring it down here where you can see, move the eggs out of the way, and I will need that big knife after all. So, big knife, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a flipper, and I'm going to take the biscuits. I don't know if you've ever wondered if you can make biscuits in a cast iron pan or if they stick, but they certainly do not. Matter of fact, a well-seasoned cast iron skillet will just release them. One of the secrets when cooking with any, cast iron on any meal is to preheat the cast iron to the temperature you're going to actually cook at. And what that does is it makes it possible for the pan to actually release without much effort. So, okay. Now, what we want is we want half biscuits. So, we're going to take our biscuits, and we're literally going to cut them in half. They are done. They are very fluffy and light. They are done. Watch your fingers. This knife actually has a serrated blade on it. You can see that. Makes it nice to kind of saw with, instead of like crushing through and sawing away. We're not going to be able to use all these biscuits, so I'll leave these 3 intact. And I think that's going to be the right number for the pan. Now, I need to move the biscuit pan out of the way and check the bacon. So, hot bad because everything's hot. And we're going to check the bacon. And perfect. The bacon is perfect. Well cooked. I'm ready to go. I'm piling them up in the corner here to let a bunch of the oil run off of it. And I'm going to take a container and actually grab that oil. You were hooked. I'm going to take the container and get that oil and save it. Hopefully this container doesn't crack. Paper towel to catch the extra drippings, and we're just going to pour off the excess oil. And they're going to reposition. Okay. Now we have bacon grease that you can make gravy out of. Yum. Wipe the pan. Wipe the stove top. Okay. So now move the bacon grease out of the way, and we're getting ready to put the eggs in. So what I want to do is I want to distribute the bacon around, preferably flat, basically. Oh, no, wait, I forgot what I'm doing. We're going to move the bacon all the way out of the way. And what we're going to do next, keep in mind this pan continues to be hot. I mean, it's cast iron. One of the benefits of cast iron is that it will remain hot. Okay, so we're going to take our biscuits. Ow! We're going to try not to put our finger on the bottom of the pan, and we're going to add the biscuits along around inside this pan. Anybody getting hungry watching this yet? Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that bacon and I'm going to layer it on top somewhat. So hopefully each biscuit gets some bacon. And this takes a little finagling. It doesn't have to be perfect. Everybody's going to get bacon and biscuits. But we want to get the bacon off of the sides and as much on top of the biscuits as possible. And I'm going to move the biscuits in together. And then I'm going to try to get the bacon away from the edges as far as possible, because we're going to add the eggs. So now the eggs, I'm going to stir up again. So fork's still in there. And what we want is a lot of air in the eggs. So we're going to fluff them up. And we're going to go to the bottom of the pan and make sure all of the cheese on the bottom is freed up. Okay, and now I'm going to add the eggs to the biscuits and bacon. So here we go. Start in the middle and pour it around the outside. Just like that. And scoop out any extras. And even it up. Now the egg will, because it's got so much air in it, it will fluff up and it will fill the space. So now that goes back in the oven. Remember, pan's still hot, skillet's still hot, so it's going in. Now, if you'll notice, I haven't used any pepper in this recipe, and it depends on who's eating if you want to put pepper in or not. So let's see, take the opportunity to clean up. Did you give me a biscuit bag? And didn't use the key. Excellent, we got a biscuit bag. So at this point, those are leftover biscuits. They get put in a biscuit bag for other meals. I mentioned we've got excess bacon grease, which could make some gravy. So we close it up. Actually, I open it back up, get rid of some excess air. There we go. And then zip it up tight. All right. Now we're done with the cutting board, or cutting plastic. Okay, so we're just about cleaned up. Most of the ingredients we used that we're done with has been put up. I'm just making noise in the background. Okay, so as far as the kitchen goes, there isn't a lot of cleanup here. I mean, we basically put everything away as we were going along, and that means that we didn't have a lot of excess to do afterwards. And right now, it's just the eggs cooking, and it's going to be about 10-15 minutes. So at this point, I'm going to take a break, and I'll be back. So just relax and enjoy, and come back in 15 minutes. Or 10 minutes. Make it 10 minutes, because I'm going to have some coffee. Any questions from me? Nobody there? Nobody's watching. I need a sign that says we're on break. The oven light isn't bright enough. I could just put the camera down there looking at the oven. Okay. Take a breath. All right, so eggs are cooking. That's good. And in a couple of minutes, hello, can you hear me? Okay, so it's been a couple of minutes, and we'll take a peek at the eggs and see what they're looking like. I know they won't be done yet, but I just want to see where they are. So I'm gonna just crack the oven open for a moment. And as you can see, yeah, it's getting there. It's starting to brown around the edges, so that's good. Something I did want to say, one of the beauties of, oh, see that? A ghost. So one of the beauties of this recipe are that you can add whatever you want to the meal itself. So if you don't like bell peppers, you don't have to add bell peppers. If you prefer a hot, spicy pepper, a cayenne, something, then you can do that. You don't have to put onions in it. You don't have to put cheese in it. You can put different cheese in it if you want. Yeah, so the variation's up to you. The other thing you can do too is not put the cheese in with the eggs, but put the cheese on top when the eggs are almost done cooking. And all of those varieties really make it appear to be a different meal. Oh, no, I'm not going to put cheese on top. Way too much cheese inside. I had a request for more cheese, but I'm not going to. Not going to do it. Too much cheese. Let's see. Yeah, some of the bowls you've seen here were made by a woman named Bodina Wright. We don't have any contact information right here, but we'll talk to her and find out if she wants something listed in case anybody wants a custom handmade bowl. She does some good work. So, let's see. Yep. The fun of a live stream. Everything's in a hurry until it's not. I was kind of happy that the biscuits got done just in time. That was pretty nice. So if you're watching this, I appreciate you taking a time to watch this and leave any kind of comments. Even after the stream is finished, you can still add comments below. If you like this type of cooking, consider subscribing. Really helps the channel. And I know on this video or on this stream, I put up all of like an hour's notice that it was going to happen. So I'll try to give more notice next time in case people want to watch the next one as it's happening. And I do know this evening sometime, Sunday afternoon, 4 or 5 o'clock Eastern time, I'm probably going to live stream making pizza, which should be fun because unlike these eggs, I'm not very practiced in pizza making, but I'm going to give it a try. So hopefully right after this live stream ends, then I'll go ahead and set that up and get a timer set so people will get more notifications for later. But yeah, like I said, I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any suggestions, I'd love to hear it. And again, if you're looking for anything that you don't have in your kitchen that you've seen me using, look in the description for this live stream, and I've listed some links to some of the products that I've used here. Help you get there a lot faster than trying to search yourself. So, yeah, I mentioned that. Like and subscribe. I hate saying that. Like and subscribe. If you like this video, like and subscribe. you know, if this were like in a real video, all this gets cut out. You don't see like cooking time passing by. So welcome to reality. I'll lower this down so you can peek in the oven with me. Ready? Not there yet. It's starting to brown, so we're almost there. I would say less than 5 minutes. This will require a couple of plates. The nice thing about baking in the oven is the stovetop does get warm, so if you ever want to heat up your plates, you can put them, in this case the stovetop's vents right here, so a very calm amount of warm air comes out of there while the oven's on, so it'll heat up those plates so they won't be cold plates. Let's see. Oh. Fork. And I like pepper, so I'll be using pepper on mine. Little milk breakfast. Any beverage will do, whatever your favorite is. Take another peek. And it really gets done pretty fast. It goes from looking not brown to looking really brown within a minute. So you got to kind of keep an eye on it. I usually can smell it. If I'm, you know, once I get it in the oven, I go on and do something else in the other room, but I can smell when it's just getting browned up right. So. I feel like whistling right now. I'm serious about any requests for any particular meal. The frittata, I didn't even know it was a frittata. I was just cooking it, and I got talking with somebody, and they were like, well, it's not a quiche because it doesn't have a crust. So, okay. But it's a frittata. Oh, getting so close. We'll take a minute. Take a closer peek. All right. Close. So close. It's really cool with a cast iron. It lets go of the egg really easily. I really like these long headed scoopers because you can go up underneath it and go around the pan. And the cast iron doesn't stick to the egg. You would think it would, but if it's seasoned well, it absolutely doesn't. So almost. I don't know about you, but I prefer my eggs slightly more cooked than less cooked. Speaking of eggs, that was a recent subject. The price of eggs in the United States has gone up something like between 40 and 60%, depending on where you're living, in the last 12 months. It's ridiculous. And I read an article. They were talking about why the prices skyrocketed. And some industry insiders were saying it was a direct result of problems with the bird crops, the birds themselves getting diseased. And they were having to take out a lot of live birds, so they had a lot less eggs. But ironically, at the end of the article, they finished by saying that even though there were problems getting eggs, that this last year they had the historically largest number of eggs delivered to stores and made the largest dollar amount of sales and the largest dollar amount of profits ever. So I was really kind of curious, how does the price of eggs go up because you don't have eggs to sell? And yet you sell more eggs than you've ever sold before. Doesn't make sense to me. I feel like we're being scammed. Are we being scammed? I don't know. That's my 2 cents. Oh, let's pop it out and take a peek. That's looking pretty good. And it's just starting to smell like cooked egg. So, yeah. The other thing here is I left the oven at 375. I probably could have put it up to about 380. Wouldn't have hurt it. I had it at 375 for the biscuits. And that is one thing when you're doing multiple different types of food in the oven at the same time. Where you put your temperature. 375 isn't bad for the bacon, as you saw it got cooked. 380 wouldn't have been bad for the bacon, and definitely not for the eggs. Although, at the same time, cooking eggs at a lower temperature for longer makes them fluffier, because they form more long protein bonds, and it makes the eggs more substantial. So slightly lower temperature for a slightly longer period probably results in fluffier eggs. Having said that, I'm like dying to get into these eggs. Oh yeah, we're gonna go with that. So, see that? Oven off. Hot pad over. And now, unfortunately, I can't really zoom with this camera, but that's okay. So, this is what I mean about getting underneath the eggs and getting them to release. Remember, pan's still hot, so hold your pan, take your long scooper, go all the way around the outside to break it free from the outside, and then work your way under to break the eggs loose from underneath. And if you notice, the eggs are actually deflating as I'm doing this because they still have a lot of air in them. Nice thing about the skillet, the cast iron skillet, is that it does retain a lot of heat, as you can see. And that's, I don't know if you can see that, that's from the bottom, nice and browned. And essentially, we're just going to cut across it like a pizza. And this is very cheesy. So there's still a lot of cheese in there. Melty, gooey cheese. And that's what you come out looking like. So once again, I'd like to thank anybody that sees this video for taking the time and watching this how-to video. It was live stream, almost over now, but I hope when you get the chance to see it, you enjoy it. And I am going to edit this down into a single video. So later on, you can take a look and watch. But until then, I am your host, Belkin Vanderspuds, and I hope you've enjoyed this video and this live stream. See you next time.